Welcome in, Dynasty fam. Got a good show for you today. Hope you enjoyed your Halloween. Got a Halloween special for you today. Did our trick or treating already earlier, and now we're gonna do our Halloween special, guys. Pretty much gonna be players that spooking us out. So it could be player that may be spooking us out, or maybe some people that players that the community as a whole are a little bit worried on or down on. So those are going to be some players that we were touching on. And then we're going to give you guys a level, right? Spook meter level 1 to 10. How spooked are we on those players? So, again, thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you guys enjoy the show. Let us know, guys, also in the comments your thoughts on some of these players, or maybe if there's another player maybe that you think that you are spooked on right now. Definitely a lot. We've seen already half the season, so definitely a lot of players right now that people are pretty much already fading, already writing off, especially rookies and these younger players. So let us know in the comments, and then we can give you our thoughts on some of those players as well. This is our 50th show, guys, 50th podcast. So had to do something different. So doing the Halloween special. So here we go, guys. Going into our first player, going to be Ramondre Stevenson, guys. So pretty much this Ramondre, guys, right now, only 4 out of 8 finishes, guys. 4 out of his 8 finishes so far, guys, have been outside of the top 30. Right? He only has one RB1 finish this season. He was the RB6 in week 6 versus the Raiders, guys. So one of the positive notes really has been the receiving game, right? He's 11th in receptions and he's got 25 receptions. He's also 6th in targets for the RB position. So he's had a tough schedule so far, guys. Early on, he faced the Dallas right Cowboys, faced the Jets, also faced New Orleans. So the schedule, guys, one little glimmer of hope, guys, is the schedule does get lighter the next couple weeks. He's got Washington, then Indy, then they get a little bye. Then he's got the Giants and the Chargers. So Ramondre, depending on the price tag for Dynasty, guys, maybe a good little buy low for these next few weeks. But definitely right now, the spook level is at 7. I'm concerned with the offense as a whole. The Patriots offense, guys, has not looked good. They're 26 in yards per game, total yards per game as an offense. Also around that same spot in total touchdowns. And the wide receiver core, guys, is just bad. They lost their best wide receiver pretty much this season has been Kendrick Bourne. He's out for the season. I think it was a torn ACL. Then they have Devontae Parker dealing with some concussion issues. Right now, Demario Douglas, the rookie, has been their best player, right? Their best wide receiver so far outside of Bourne. And then you have also Juju is back, but Juju has been disappointment as well this year, guys. So, and right now the QB position is also shaky, guys. They've had some movement there at the QB position. They're having some difficulty moving the ball, and you've had some Mac Jones issues as well as they brought in Bailey Zappi right a couple times. So it's just been kind of weird. They brought in even signed a Malik Cunningham, so it just doesn't seem settled there at the QB position so far. And now with that wide receiver core just decimated, it's just going to be tough for that offense as a whole, right? So definitely been disappointed for Stevenson, but maybe a buy low if the price is right. If it's can get it for a good little discount, maybe they'll rely on the run game these next couple weeks with the wide receiver core that they have. Maybe he can even increase his targets, right? Kendrick Bourne was pretty much their target leader for a while. So maybe he can increase his targets right now. And so maybe you can hope for some of the upside in the passing game. But right now, spook level is level 7 for Ramondre Stevenson. So now heading into the next player, guys, a popular topic right now, Quentin Johnson. And I liked Quentin Johnson, guys, coming in. I'm not going to lie. So this may be biased. Maybe the spook level should be higher. But I'm giving the rookie a little bit of, I give the rookies a little bit more time, guys. I'm not really, it's maybe at the running back position, I might be a little quicker to judge if they come in and they got the workload and they just didn't produce, right? So the running back position might be a little bit different. But the wide, because there's only one person there, right? You're the only one there getting the ball. Wide receiver position, there's a lot of mouths to feed, right? On the field. So I'm giving him a little bit of a pass so far, guys. Spook level of 3 for Quentin Johnson right now. When he came in, we knew he was a little bit more raw of a prospect. Definitely had a lot of talent, guys. I liked him when I was drafting Quentin Johnson, guys. Really, it was for the thought in mind for year 2, right? But pretty much just has that natural ability, natural talent, guys. And right now, we know that coming in, he had some trouble with some of those nuances of the wide receiver position, but definitely, guys, a lot of potential. I think he still has a high ceiling, but really, he was thrust into the spotlight earlier than we anticipated. And it's not as much as people were thinking, guys. So people are already writing him off, but he didn't really play that much, even those first game without Mike Williams, right? So he's had a game or two without Mike Williams, but it wasn't even playing that many of the snaps yet, guys, and also getting no looks for not really any targets. We know targets are earned, guys, but he was hardly ever looked at, right? Those first read passes are pretty much what's coming out. Herbert really not looking his way, guys. I've seen some of the game film, not all of them, but some of them just not really looking his way, guys. But this past week, guys, we saw a glimpse of hope. 6 targets. He went 5 for 50. He finally got one target, guys, on the slant, and he was able to break some tackles, and it looked good. That's what he's good at, guys, that yak ability. And he can make plays, but they're pretty much just kind of having him outside the boundary. That's not really his game. He struggled, right, in college with some of those 50-50 balls, those jump balls, even though he has the 40-inch vertical and he has all the characteristics of the bigger guy to make those plays. He just hasn't really done it too much, but really what he's best at is just creating yards after the catch. They finally got him on a slant and he was able to showcase some of that. They've talked about coaches have talked about getting him more involved, right? And don't say, I've heard people say, guys, Palmer was out of line. Palmer got shaken up, right? Twisted his ankle. He came back in, guys. Palmer actually played more snaps than him this game. He played, QJ played 27 of 47, 41. That was routes run. Sorry. He ran 27 routes out of 41. Palmer ran 33, guys. So Palmer was back in the lineup. He was doing this with Palmer in the lineup. Then right now, he also even got a TD, got not a TD, he got a jump ball, right? He got a red zone opportunity. Didn't come down with it. It looked kind of funky, guys. I don't even know how he tried to catch it with like his arm, like in his, it was weird, guys. But he got a red zone target, so at least they're looking his way, guys. I think a little bit more now. So again, guys, just a great situation there with uh with Herbert, guys, Justin Herbert there in LA, guys. So I think he's even a buy low. I might send some offers out, guys, if people are worried about QJ. I've already heard a lot of people writing him off, but spook level right now is 3 for us for QJ. Next guy we're going to be going into, guys, is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, guys, spook level is going to be 8. Pretty much last year, guys, when he was injured, guys, but when he was on the field, he was good, guys. He produced, but this year, again, some injury concerns. Right now, Sutton also, guys, has been out producing him. Sutton is the wide receiver 34 in points per game. Jerry Jeudy, guys, wide receiver 54 in points per game right now. So I think with Jeudy, guys, he came in. It was a debate with him and Lamb and who was the better receiver. And I think that just kind of made everybody's expectations just a little bit too high for Jerry Jeudy. But I think if we temper our expectations, guys, with a lot of these players, but Jeudy, guys, especially, I think we have to view him as really a low end wide receiver 3 right now. I think he's definitely got the wide receiver 2 upside. But even this past week, guys, he had 6 targets. It was kind of a weird game. It was a snow game. He had 6 targets, guys. He caught a touchdown, and he still only had 13 fantasy points. So wide receiver 32 finish. So definitely, guys, for somebody that you're thinking is a high end wide receiver 2, maybe mid wide receiver 2. Definitely not what you want to see, especially after catching a touchdown, guys. So I was hoping to change the scenery for Jerry Jeudy. It didn't happen. They ran the ball so like 100 times. With good for Javante. It's 27 carries, I think, for Javante. But Jeudy still got 6. He still got 6 targets, guys. It was only 2 receptions, got 50 yards out of it. So pretty good. But definitely I'm lowering my expectations on Jerry Jeudy. Right now, spook level is a level 8. So the next guy we're going to be talking about is going to be Cooper Kupp. Pretty much spook level is 4, guys. I know he had 2 bad games statistically, right, for fantasy points. And a lot of people are worried right now about Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I've seen them on the trade block, and I've seen them in some trades and in a lot of posts right now. But pretty much the Stafford guys, Cooper Kupp was one of our fades also, guys, preseason. But right now, one of the concerns for us was Stafford as well as Cooper Kupp's own health, dealing with the hamstring injury. But Stafford, the results were negative on the thumb, guys. It was thought that maybe he was going to go on IR, but he avoids that so far. So probably going to be without Stafford for this next week, guys. But after that, they're going to have a bye also. So I think it's more than likely we're not going to see Stafford. And after that, he should be back, right, Matt, with Matt Stafford. And the targets have been there for Cup, guys. His first game back, he had 12 targets. Then he had 9. This past 2 weeks, he had 7. And then this past week was a bad week, but he still got 10 targets, guys. So I think he bounces back. The targets are there. But after these 2 performances, right, he might have another down week this week without Stafford. Looking like it's going to be Brett Ripien maybe. But after the bye, they're going to have Seattle, then Arizona. So I think we could have a little buy low window, maybe after, maybe now or even after this week, if he has another down game, maybe a good little buy low window for Cooper Cup as well as maybe even Puka Nakua. So people are already reacting to Puka as well. So heading into our next player, guys, Christian Watson. And guys, I will say Christian Watson was our top, pretty much one of our top buys. I think he was our top buy, our number one buy in the offseason. And right now, so maybe the spook level is a little bit biased. I have spook level of 6, but right now, he's been good, guys, when he's been on the field, right? Again, I think the injuries are a big concern with Watson since pretty much since rookie camp, been dealing with injuries, the knee and the hamstring issues, and he's missed. If he misses some more time, guys, I'm probably going to be, if he misses some more time, I'm just going to lump him in as a Will Fuller with worse QB play. So definitely, I may be off Christian Watson, guys, if he misses some more time. He already came back and he missed some snaps because he re-aggravated something potentially, but then he came back. But right now, this past week, he did get 8 targets, so that was good to see, right? His snap share has been increasing little by little, but he gets 8 targets. But the bad part, guys, only 8 fantasy points, right? So Jaden Reed so far has been more efficient, as well as Dobbs has really been not been more efficient, but getting those touchdowns so far right now. So Watson did get a red zone target this past week, didn't connect on it, but we'll see, guys. They've been, like I said, easing him back. So, right, the first few games, he wasn't even playing like half the snaps. So, he's barely getting back into it. So, if he doesn't start trending up really soon for me, guys, spook level will definitely have to go up for me. Now, the next guy we have is going to be Tony Pollard, spook level of 7, guys. Right now, he's the RB18 with 13.7 points per game. So, definitely not bad, but it's disappointing for sure, guys. Right now, last season he was the RB9, and that was splitting time, splitting reps with Ezekiel Elliott. But he was highly efficient last season, guys. So right now, a lot of people had high hopes, including myself, for Tony Pollard. People are getting him like early second round and thinking that he could have RB1 overall potential, guys. He's not even an RB1, right? Not even in the top 12 RBs right now. He's RB18, pretty much a mid RB2. So definitely concerning and disappointing for Pollard. Last year, guys, he was way more efficient. He's 23rd this year in breakaway run rate so far. He was 4th last season, 27th last year also, or 27th this year in yards after contact per attempt. Last season, he was 4th. 38th this year in elusive rating, and he was 15th last season. The yards per route run has still been consistent, 11th last year, or 11th this year, or 11th last year, sorry, 12th this year. So still on par. And he's 11th in targets this season at the RB position. So that's good, right? 9th in receptions. But I think with this guy, for him to turn around, guys, he has to start finding the end zone, really. Only 2 rushing touchdowns, and that was in week 1. Week 1 against the Giants, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, has not had a touchdown since on the ground or through the air. He had 12 last season. So he's pretty much 10 under from last season, right? He only had 2 so far. So we have 8 weeks to go, right? Roughly in fantasy, right? They have a bye week, 8 weeks to go for Tony Pollard. Hopefully we can start seeing him turn it around with some touchdowns as well, and maybe an uptick in the efficiency. But spook level is going to be 7 right now. Defense has had 4 touchdowns already on pick sixes, or 3 on pick sixes, 1 on a fumble. So the defense just does score, guys. This past game, they dominated. They were dominating the Rams early on. So it was only 1 target for Pollard. So that could be concerning a little bit on some of those games where they're just blowing out teams. But this week they got Philly. So hopefully they'll be playing from behind, right? And or more of a game where they got to put up some points, and you'll have Pollard in there getting some more receiving work. Then they have the Giants in Carolina. So keep an eye on Pollard, guys. Like I said, I'm not all the way out on him, right? There still is a little bit of hope possibly, but if he doesn't show anything in these next few games, I'm pretty much going to be off of Pollard, guys, and we're pretty much going to be no hope that he's going to return RB1 value for our fantasy rosters. So next guy we got Treylon Burks, guys. So health has just seemed to be the issue with Treylon Burks. Right now, I have a spook level of 7. I still have a little bit of hope, guys. And one of the things, the good thing about Treylon, guys, is the price tag. He's pretty much dropped drastically in dynasty rankings. But right now, he's been dealing with some knee issues for almost 2 seasons. He showed some good signs, but when he's on the field, right, he had 4 for 76 yards, right? 4 receptions for 76 yards in week 2. Then he earned 6 targets in week 3, but then he got injured again. But spook level going to be 7 right now. And the hope, guys, like I said, is the price. It's not very, he's pretty much going to acquire him for pretty cheap right now. Late seconds, I'm sure, would get him, I would assume. Maybe you can do like a player that you and a third, something like that, a player you don't like and a third. But right now, one of the glimmer of hopes that I have is pretty much going to be Levis, guys. After seeing Will Levis this past week, what he was able to do, they've pretty much struggled right through the air. But Will Levis looked pretty good this week. So if he's going to be tied to Will Levis and Will Levis can keep this up, maybe there's some hope for Treylon. After all, they did connect, guys. He only had 2 targets, right? Treylon only had 2 targets, but one of them they did connect on a pretty deep ball, but it was caught out of bounds. So we'll see. I still have a little bit of optimism for Treylon, but I'm definitely not nearly as high, right? We were thinking we weren't thinking, but a lot of people were talking about the AJ Brown replacement, and we saw the swap of AJ Brown, and we have high expectations like a AJ Brown. Definitely not going to be anywhere near that, guys. So if we temper our expectations, though, maybe we can have a decent wide receiver 3 going forward, maybe in year 3 or so. So someone that's definitely dropping in the rankings for me as well. But I'm not completely all the way out, guys. I think, but he needs to stay healthy and string together some good performances this last half of the fantasy season, or I will pretty much be pretty out on Treylon Burks for the next fantasy season. Next one in a similar light, guys, we have Jameson Williams, guys. I have spook level of 9, and I know he hasn't been on the field as much, but he's just surrounded by great pass catchers, guys. Amon-Ra, Laporta now just emerging. Then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's been getting limited time on the field. And he was just suspended, guys. It's not like he was coming off an injury, right? He was suspended, so he's not getting that much time on the field. So it's a little bit concerning, the snap share as well as the targets, and pretty much been around 40%, even less than that on the snap share. And then now they bring in DPJ, guys. Donovan Peoples-Jones in free agency was kind of weird, man. I know Josh Reynolds had a bad fumble this past week, so maybe it's for Josh Reynolds, but in essence, they basically do the same thing, Jameson Williams and DPJ. So it just seems a little bit shaky for me here, the JMO situation here. So I'm definitely spooked out. I'm going to say a level 9 right now on Jameson Williams. But I think one of the good things, I guess, is that there are still some people that may be interested in Jameson Williams with the draft capital and then just the college profile that he had coming out of college. Maybe you could still get a second for him, or maybe you can pair him with something and get another player that you like, a little tier up if you get Jameson in a second. But I'm definitely, guys, spooked on Jameson Williams, pretty much level 9. And the last player, guys, is going to be the man on the thumbnail. We got Justin Jefferson. Before we get into Justin Jefferson, guys, if you're liking the video and liking the content, be sure to give us a like and a subscribe, and also comment down below, guys, any ideas or thoughts on some of these players, or maybe you have a question on another player you want to get our opinion on it. So last player we got is going to be Justin Jefferson, guys. I got spook level of 7. This is definitely, I don't want to say this is spook level for Dynasty, but I think the main concern for me for Justin Jefferson is just going to be the health, guys. Not necessarily, right, the production. I think Justin Jefferson, even if it's Josh Dobbs, I mean, maybe the production takes a slight tick back, but I don't think that he's going to be, I'm not going to be moving him drastically down, right, because of production. I think he's still going to be a wide receiver one, right? Probably top six. I would still put him like top six. I think he's going to get the targets, right? Marquise Brown has done just fine with Josh Dobbs, and that's kind of what my hope is. I see, Marquise Brown had he was consistent getting 17, right? 16, 17 points a game, right, for a few weeks with Josh Dobbs. So I think Justin Jefferson will be fine no matter who's at QB. You have Kirk Cousins, guys, that's going to be out the season with the torn Achilles, and he was also on a 1-year deal. So that might be concerning, right? Long term for Justin Jefferson, right? Who's going to be that QB? They're still going after it. They're still competing, obviously bringing in Dobbs. They should have Jaron Hall this week. But after that, if you have Dobbs coming in, they're 4-4 right now. They're second in the division, so they're definitely still competing. So the bad news is, guys, they probably will not have a high draft pick, it's looking like. And one of those top QBs from next year, you got Caleb Williams, Drake May, right? You're probably not going to get any of those guys. So that is a little bit concerning long term. Well, I guess for the short, like the next 2 years for JJ, right? Who's going to be at that QB? Because it doesn't look like it's going to be Cousins, guys. Even if they did something with Cousins, he's going to be back like week 9 at best next year. So it's a little bit concerning, but I'm more than likely, right now, I think JJ still he could return week 10, but that's my main concern, guys. He could be out at least 6 weeks. So he might even be out to like week 12. And if you're fighting for the playoffs or anything like that, if you have Justin Jefferson on your team, you're pretty much a contender, right? You're a contender, you're competing. So, and he's your best wide receiver, right? There's nobody better than him. So it's a little bit concerning. So that's kind of why the spook level is 7 for me. And then if he's got the contract situation, and if they're just decide to fold it and go for a QB, which I don't see them doing it, but I just think more so the spook level is him staying out 6 weeks because 4 would be coming in pretty soon. And I don't know, they might play it safe, especially if they're able to win a game, right, with Josh Dobbs. So we'll see, guys, but I'm a little bit concerned as far as Justin Jefferson and the injury that he's dealing with. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out some of our other videos.